Hi everyone, my name is Chris and this is my first video on YouTube. This channel will primarily focus on finances and technology. I love technology. I still have my very first iPhone and it actually still works. I'm 31 years old. I'll be turning 32. I'm not perfect. I've definitely made my fair share of mistakes. I have a college degree, therefore, there are student loans that I'm working on paying off, and I am learning from some of those mistakes that I've made. So, I'm hoping to be able to share some advice and suggestions that I've learned so that others can prevent those same mistakes or at least improve and make that decision now, today. That's what you got to do. Budgeting doesn't have to be hard, it doesn't have to suck. It can, but it's all about your perspective. I'm going to try to make budgeting as simplistic as possible. Let's just make it into 3 steps for today and today only. If you're like most Americans, you probably live paycheck to paycheck. And if you're looking at your balance on your bank account and wondering, do you have enough money to make it until that payday? Then this video is probably for you. And I believe it can be helpful. The first step is really to make that decision that, hey, I need to sit down and I need to sit down and figure this all out. That's the first step, is making an effort to start living and taking control of that cycle. Because if you're looking at each paycheck and you're paid bi-weekly, you're living in maybe a 2-week cycle where you're just waiting for that next pay period. Can you survive? And that is a terrible way to live. I've been there, I've done that. I've been broke in college where I put $3 in my gas tank just so I could have a couple miles extra to make it where I'm going or to get to class. This can be stressful and it's not fun. It's funny to think about it now, but if you're in this situation, it is extremely serious. The second step that I'm going to recommend here would be you need to look at your income and you need to compare it to your expenses. How much are you earning and how much are you spending? Hopefully, at this point, you should know what you're making. Whether you're a salaried employee, that should be pretty easy to figure out. You can look at each paycheck, you can look at your tax return. If you're an hourly employee, this might fluctuate if you work overtime. So take an average, perhaps. You can look at your tax returns for the last 3 years. Hopefully, you're doing your taxes. And the third step is essentially, what do you want out of this process of budgeting? Because if you only know what you're making and what you're spending, you need to have a goal. My suggestion is start small. If you don't have an emergency fund, most Americans don't have an emergency fund. I didn't have an emergency fund to start out with, but if you start with nothing or even a negative balance, just get that to zero. Start a goal of, I'm going to have $100 in my savings account and make it something that's reasonable. Don't create a goal that you're going to have $1 million in your savings account in 2 years, because the likelihood of that happening, if you're making an average salary of less than $50,000 a year, you're not going to have the savings to contribute, or unless you win the lottery, don't plan on it. So that's my opinion here, but I believe small is better. There's some applications that you can utilize to your benefit. There's Mint, which is a great tool. There's also You Need a Budget. And if you don't want to resort to technology, Simply just grab a notebook. That's all you need, a piece of paper. You can grab a notebook from a dollar store. It doesn't really have to be anything fancy. Now, a notebook might come in handy extremely if you are a tipped employee because whether you're actually claiming 100% of your tips, that's up to you. But it's easy, especially since I've waited tables. It's quick and easy money in your pocket. You get paid cash and you're done for the night. So every shift that you work, when you get home, just write down what you earned. You're counting that money anyways, or you should be. If you walk out of a restaurant or a bartending job and you have no clue how much you made and you just go and blow it the next day, and live like that day after day, that cycle is going to continue. It's not going to just correct itself. You need to take control. Otherwise, it's going to be in control of you. Now, Excel could be scary for some people, but for others, it can be simple. I recommend a site called Vertex 42. It's a great resource and it has some advanced spreadsheets where all you do is just plug in the numbers and you're good to go. Coming back to that third and final step is your goal. I would suggest having an emergency fund or paying off debt. For myself, I am doing two. I'm trying to pay off some debt and I'm also saving up for a house. The 50-30-20 rule is essentially 50% of your income should go towards needs. Having a roof over your head is important. 30% should go towards your wants, such as shopping. It's not always about the destination, it's about the journey. And I know that's such a cliche, but if you're not enjoying life and you're just constantly stressed out about money all the time and ripping your hair out, then what is the point of saving money if you're just going to be stressed about it? And trust me, I'm speaking from experience. 20% of that income should go towards savings. You got to start somewhere. Maybe you're in the negative. Maybe you have nothing. You may not even have a savings account. I can help with that. Another great useful tool is Paycheck City. It's a website. Go there, check it out, enter your income. You can enter all of your deductions. For me, I'm going to just give a sample here of Jane Smith. Jane Smith is an average American, so I'm just using averages here. Her average salary is $47,060, so I'm being specific to the dollar here. Now, let's say that she doesn't have any benefits. So she just has that $47,000 as income and she pays her taxes. You have your federal withholding, you have your Social Security, you have Medicare, and let's say Jane lives in Florida like I do. So she doesn't pay state tax. Essentially, after everything's paid, taxes, what she sees directly deposited into her account is about $1,500 biweekly. No benefits. Annually, her take home is $38,966. Let's call it $39,000, and the month net is about $3,247. So we're dealing with about $3,200 every month. So expenses. We're going to talk about some more averages here. The average nationwide rent or mortgage payment is $1,405. Let's pretend that Jane is saving some money and she's got a good deal on rent right now. She's just paying a flat $1,000. So for this example, it's not going to be the perfect average American, but we'll take a look at some numbers here. And this is just to help you figure out what you need to be looking at. There's utilities. Do you have water, trash, sewer, electricity? That falls under that category. Let's say Jane is spending $150 a month. Credit card debt, the average American has $16,000 in credit card debt. It's insane. For this example, we're going to pretend that Jane was smart. She decided, you know what, I'm going to consolidate these credit cards. I've only got two, and she has a personal loan. Her monthly payment's $150. Now, student loan debt, that's something that I'm very familiar with. The average student loan debt for 2019 is $37,000 with a monthly payment of about $400. Vehicle payment, if you're getting to your job and you're driving, then the average payment is $551. It's insane, but let's go with it. $551. Gas. Since this new vehicle that was just financed, we're going to assume that this is a fuel efficient vehicle, one fill up a week, and it's about $30. So $120 a month. Insurance, the annual average is $1,426. It comes out to about $118 a month. Internet, let's pretend that Jane just signed up with her internet provider for $29.99. It's a nice introductory period for about 12 months. Her phone bill, and this is an average, is over $80. And food for the average American is about $250 for one person a month. And that total comes out to $2,842. So you need to figure out where your expenses are, because now that we have a picture of what Jane is spending on a month and each year, we know that her net income is only $39,000 after taxes. Her net expenses are $34,000. So she is spending 87% of that money that she's making, and it's gone every year. What does she really have to show for it? Because in this example, I did not factor in any savings. There's no 20% of savings here. It's not being contributed by her 401k because she's not getting benefits. So my suggestion is to take those 3 steps, and to recap: 1, you need to just make that decision. Hey, I'm going to take control of my money. It's mine and I don't want it to control me anymore. I'm tired of this. It's exhausting. It really can be. Second step is write it down. Look at what your income is, look at what your expenses are, figure it out. That's the first step, really, after making that decision, which is the step 2. And then third, what are you doing this all for? Make a goal. You probably already have a goal in mind, but this process here will help you achieve your goals much quicker than if you're just trying to wing it. So that's all that I have. Thanks for watching. Click like if this was beneficial, subscribe, and if you even want, you can click on the notification. Hopefully I'll do this about once a week or so. It's my first video. Any comments are appreciated. Thank you very much. My name is Chris, and take care.